strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nethercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
It's locked, all right. I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reed.
Doctor? Interesting.
Right then. Sure.
Fancy bar.
You never lose. Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then?
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
How is business?
Business? I had no business. Between this racket...
I see. Sounds like you blame someone...
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants.
As a merchant...
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this...
Violence is increasing.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some...
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinket.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis. Excuse me, sir.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one.
I'm not a journalist.
A doctor, you say?
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reed, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane?
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl.
According to you, physicians...
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you?
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look,
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
there's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I found. And
A job?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense of others. Perhaps that's just the law of nature.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Fancy bye.
You never... Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I've known Joe for years.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer.
Without making excuses for him.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand a...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina...
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I...
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crasionescu. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work.
Short story. The
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly, but it is not your concern.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed. Or expose others.
I don't like doctors, or...
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen...
Goodbye, miss. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it? Very well. Hello again, miss. Camellia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well. Hello again, miss. Very well. Goodbye, then. It's locked.
There's one of them!
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news. Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker,
I am Dr.
a scientist. You are much more...
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane?
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work?
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade?
As a true believer.
I have heard enough for tonight. Good evening.
His father.
What do you mean when you say that I am more...
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you?
Well, I suppose I can spare a few...
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself.
Really?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us.
What is left, then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my...
You're mad. And dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. the Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost?
Also,
Quite a
well, you are seeking.
I am. I have had enough.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to what...
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very...
He never goes out.
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
He has no relative?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr.?
He spends most of his time lurking around...
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza?
There's a war going on.
It's a disgrace.
These are bad times indeed.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets?
I've had to run and hide more than once from...
I'm convinced there is more at work.
Really?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth?
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many
That's quite honorable.
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an
Christina Popper claims she sells her body because she can't find any other work. Do you believe her?
Of course I do. Her story is exactly what I want.
Do you think things will ever change?
I believe the situation can...
Goodbye, Mr. Dark.
Boys! You leech! Want some of that? Killing's all you deserve. Die, vermin!
through all around you.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter. It's locked, all right. I cannot enter. Hello again. Very well. Good. Good evening.
Change your mind?
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starving?
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
You again?
Goodbye, Mr. Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would...
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about...
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
How do you feel?
I'm fine.
Speaking of which, what...
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision.
You have a roof over your head?
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful.
If life here is so terrible for you, why?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed.
Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after...
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Goodbye, young man.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
It's locked, all right.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
So,
I'm not bothered.
would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
What?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Goodbye, young man.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Hard to pay, one way or another.
Fancy bar.
You never lose your folk. What do you know of Harry Peterson?
Harry's a good boy, but he spends most of his time complaining.
What troubles him exactly?
But despite being his father's son, almost everything, I think. He never wanted to come to Whitechapel in the first place.
Goodbye for...
Cheap price, good quality.
Pay,
Come
one way
on,
or
take a
another.
look. Don't be afraid.
You again?
Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look.
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane.
Since the...
No one will ever take my son away.
Why do you keep on working?
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. And people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak. And there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid. Cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
Good evening, Doc.
I still have...
I don't know much about the man.
He never...
No.
Really?
He went to the knee.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. This could be the box Lewis thought he lost. A love letter from Joe Peterson's wife, addressed to Barrett Lewis. Who should I give it to, I wonder? I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane.
I have no time for you, sir.
I must insist.
I have no time.
It's locked. I cannot enter.
If I could get some work in.
Good evening, Benjamin.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood.
Someday you'll understand. You've wasted your life all...
Good evening, Benjamin. Can I...
I'm afraid not.
A gun? is despicable. It's locked, all right.
Its effectiveness has been...
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Do you know no...
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it's...
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say... Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid, or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they...
I'd like to see what...
End up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy.
Goodbye, young man. can't believe I'm doing this. Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Sure.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So,
I'm not bothered.
do you remember when Barrett Lewis was close to your family? To your mother?
Not really. I was too young. But I remember it was a happier time. Mr. Lewis was funny. He often had dinner with us.
How was he towards you?
He was nice, I guess. He never forgot my birthday. He always offered me books. I liked books.
Why are you sad, then?
Because it hurts to remember a time when my father...
Goodbye, young man.
Is there only pain and suffering?
You again?
I think the documents in this box could be of some interest to you.
Really? Where'd you get it?
I found it in an abandoned building nearby.
Let me see. Letters about my boy. Thank you, sir.
You do not appear surprised.
Surprised about what? Harry's my son, I'm his father, and that's all there is to know, don't you think?
Yes, I suppose you're right.
Here's a little something for your trouble. And to remind you to keep your mouth shut about all this.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
Fancy buying something, sir?
You never lose your... Barrett, you had an affair with Joe's wife, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. She's the only woman I loved. My first regret is that she stayed with Joe after...
Do you mean you're Harry's father?
No one will ever know for sure.
Did you ever try talking to Joe?
Never. But I suspected he knew everything, even without knowing it.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Lewis. Good evening, Harry.
Sure.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
So,
I'm not bothered.
goodbye, young man.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane.
I have no time.
Step away, sir. I'll send you back in a fucking
It's locked.
Better go home. Look lively! It's on to us! Killing's on you, Fine, I'll take it. Die, beast!
I cannot enter. I must insist, sir. Please let me see Nurse Crane.
I have no time.
The other way this week, Joe? Come on, we can sort it out, right?
It's not my call, Barrett. You pay one way or another.
Please, Joe. How long have we known each other? We even used to be neighbours, for Christ's sake.
I'd prefer not to give you another beating, Barrett. You again?
Good. Good evening.
It's far.
I have heard enough.
Good evening,
I still have...
I don't know much about the man.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. Good evening, sir. I'm Doc...
Please be my guest. Although I may not...
Really?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott.
May I ask you a few...
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane.
Dorothy Crane.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocent...
What are you talking...
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet nowhere.
My mother loved poetry. Perhaps your words would have touched her sensitive nature. I only see a dreadful disease.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure.
If you thank... But are you not a...
Oh.
Do you need medical attention, sir?
It may be wise...
I understand
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate...
Do you need
Do you have a pill?
I'll leave you alone. Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in. Good evening.
And good evening to you too.
May I ask...
Extraordinary part of town, is it?
What can you tell?
Darius Petrescu. Yes, I'm
not interested in your talent.
Darius is an old political activist who takes...
I'll leave you alone.
Some of us come to this world already touched by grace.
For there is no protection against malevolence and trickery. You are blinded by your false faith, imprisoned by your daily routine, unable to see the true horror around you.
You never... Do you need help, sir?
I only need you to put...
Goodbye for now, Mr. Good evening.
Change your...
Do you need any assistance?
It depends.
I am shocked that you...
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liar.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself.
let your guard down, sir.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again? Go away.
Sir, wait. Stop.
All right.
Don't you see we're on the same side?
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are.
I have to admit your words have convicted. If you want to talk to Dorothea, you must...
We've not been formal.
I am Darius Petrescu.
Do you need some help?
I am very tired.
Well, I think you do.
Free drugs from an English doctor.
How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius?
I'm her oldest friend in England.
You mean occupied Romania?
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorothea than meets the eye, Dr. Reed.
I know you fought for your country when it was occupied,
I know my days are numbered.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
But it's not the country I fought for.
Do you have any family left, Mr. Petrescu?
Who knows?
Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know, my own father disappeared many years ago.
It's quite awkward to talk about our...
This...
No.
So Dorothy's real name is not Crane?
Like myself and many people in this area.
She seems important to the community.
More than you can imagine.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor.
Are you not what?
She is as brave as she is tough. And
are you in love with...
Don't be stupid. If I had met her when I was younger, we could have won our revolution.
Really? Do you know where she's from?
She's not from around here.
You say she has no close family?
Well, there's that awful poet who constantly follows her around like a lost puppy. A good man for sure, but a very poor writer.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu. do we have here, nurse?
Patient Raz Van Vasily. High fever running on 3 days. Complaints of dizziness, muscle aches, and head pain. Diagnosed with influenza.
Treatment?
Aspirin and salicin for the fever and discomfort. Liquids for dehydration, but he's having trouble keeping even water down.
Aspirin and salicin, you say? Why not some warm milk and a kiss on the cheek? Where are the quinine salts?
Tried buying, borrowing, even stealing. There's none to be found, Doctor.
He's not convulsing, he's choking. He's not getting any air. Scalp! Hand me that scalp!
What can I do, Doctor?
It's too dangerous to operate with these convulsions. Sedative, nurse. Do we have any anesthetics?
I'm sorry, Doctor. None at all.
I need to perform a tracheostomy. Short pipe. That rubber tube will do. We're going to cut a passage for air through the neck.
Yes, Doctor. He's breathing again, but he's coughing up blood.
Internal hemorrhaging. I need to make another incision into the chest cavity to drain the fluids from the lung. Prepare another tube.
A thoracostomy. Doctor, we've nothing to fight the infection. We need an aseptic environment.
Don't question me, nurse. I need a drain. Now.
Yes, Doctor. He's still bleeding, Doctor. I'm losing his pulse.
The drain must have punctured the intercostal artery. There's too much blood.
Are you all right, Doctor?
I can't see. I have this, nurse. Allow me to finish the procedure alone. I need the room.
I'd prefer to stay and see this through. This is my patient, Doctor. I have needle and thread for stitching the wound.
Good. The stitches are holding. How's he doing?
We're losing him. We've lost his pulse. He's dying, Doctor!
Cardiac massage, now.
Cardiac... What? Are you making this up as you go along? We've lost the pulse. He's gone, Doctor.
Nurse, we did everything we could.
Truly? Everything you could? Is that how you'll report this in your log? Is this how the war went? Piling up one poor corpse beside the next?
This was not an influenza-induced seizure. I've never seen symptoms like these on the continent.
Neither have I. But the previous symptoms leading up to this attack were the same, indistinguishable from the epidemic.
No. There was something more vile in these reactions. Something primitive.
There have been numerous reports of mental breakdowns caused by the fever that accompanies the flu itself, Doctor.
Yes, but... I'd best take some samples of the blood for analysis.
You're here to test my bedside manners. I suspect it was more than intuition alone that led you to us. So, how might I be of service, Dr. Reed?
I've come to put an end to this insufferable black...
Doctor, you think your warnings scare me? I've stolen and plied, blackmailed and lied, but what else am I to do? I'm all these people have.
You've convinced me of the sincerity of your actions and their noble justifications. But all the same, blackmail is a crime, and it will stop, Nurse Crane.
So, are you going to turn me over to the authorities?
Nurse Crane, there is no question that the work you've done here is extraordinary, but this dispensary is incapable of coping with the outbreak. It's only a question of days before the situation at hand will overwhelm us. I cannot allow it. It's my duty to put an end to this immediately.
I'm not ashamed. I did what was right. For in the end, I saved lives and you took them. But we had so much in common, Doctor. Don't you see that?
It's locked, all right.
This one stinks already. There's one of them vermin. This one's mine! Bloody leeches. Ah!
Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Yes?
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Do you need assistance?
Please. Feeling tired.
I will see you later. Goodbye, young man. I cannot enter. Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately.